Hello and welcome to the Charles River Conservancy Parkland show. My name is Renata from Tscharner. I'm the founder and president of the Charles River Conservancy, and today we're going to talk a subject I love to talk about. You know, I always talk about the river, the parklands, and today we are going to talk about the skate park. Yes, you heard me right, the skateboarding park on the Charles River. And we have the expert that is going to make it happen right with you. Michael, welcome.
Thank you, Renata.
Mike McIntyre is the founder and principal of Action Sport Design, and he has recently partnered up with the sports group of Stantec, and they are going to build that skate park. But let me take you back a little bit, because this skate park has been in the works for quite some time. It actually goes back to the 1990s when a woman by the name of Nancy Schoen, who is known as a great sculptor, and she did make way for Ducklings and many other sculptors, she thought we need a skate park in Boston because the skaters were skating over her sculptures in Copley Square. And she didn't like that, but she realized skaters are great young athletes and they need a skate park. So when the Charles River Conservancy started in 2000, Nancy approached us and said, well, we need to work together on this skate park. So we started to look at sites along the Charles River, and it was actually all the way back in 2003 when the Citizen Advisory Committee of the New Basin, which is the area near the Museum of Science, decided, yes, this skate park should be in Cambridge underneath the Zakim ramps. So then in 2004 we started to convene skaters and have them tell us what they would like to see. We had several meetings at the Boston Public Library, and we had the skaters draw and sketch and mold with clay of how that skate park should look like. We also started to raise funds, and by 2008 we had raised $2.5 million, but that was also the time when the recession started, and the Department of Conservation and Recreation, which was going to maintain the park, said, well, they don't really know whether they could do that. So we were trying to figure out how to do that. First we thought that we might get an independent operator that would be funded by the Conservancy, but then with thanks to federal funding for the new North Bank Bridge, things got the right way, and now the Charles River Conservancy will be building that skate park, and DCR will be operating and maintaining the skate park, and the agreement for that is signed. And now it's the joy of building that skate park, and that's where Mike comes in. So Mike, tell us of how did you get involved with this skate park? I know it, but you can tell the viewers.
Well, the Charles River project has been well publicized and documented over the last 10 years, and most people that are skateboarders or in the skate park planning, design, and construction business have been following it for years. For myself, my background over the last 13-15 years have been dedicated to planning, design, engineering for public skate parks, both on the large scale, multi-million-dollar projects down to smaller skate dots all over the world. Our firm consists of not only people that are licensed landscape architects such as myself, but professional skateboarders from a legendary status such as Canton Russell. So a lot of us we kind of live and breathe what we draw, what we design. And the Charles River project was I don't know how the timing and the opportunity crossed each other's paths, but I think when ASD made a decision to join the sport group of Stantec to increase our breadth rather than always working with a different sub-consultant, civil, structural, geotechnical on every project that we work on. Ironically, their sport group office is here in Boston, about 5-minute walk from the project. And when we connected and started talking about the possibilities and the necessity to not only just look at the skate park, but the overall skate park environment, how it's going to connect for the restrooms, the pedestrian circulation, where you're going to sit, to actually create not so much as a skate park, but a park you can skate in for the whole community to enjoy. because contextually the park setting has changed so much over the last 10 years.
Yeah. So let's look at the park setting, at the park here, and what we're looking at is a map of what is called the New Basin. We see the Zaken Bridge right here to the right. We see the Museum of Science on the other side, and there are all these wonderful new parks in green which have been built with funds from the mitigation of the Big Dig. $100 million, 70 million have been spent, and the remaining money will be spent on adding pedestrian bridges on the south bank here and along the railroad. You might have heard about the new North Bank Bridge, which has just been completed and which has been funded by federal stimulus funds, a beautiful bridge. So that means there is now a connection between Charlestown here on the right and Cambridge and North Point Park. And the skate park is pointed out here, is dots. And right next to the skate park will be the new building by EF. And that means there is going to be not only a wonderful neighbor with a lot of young people working there, but also a restaurant and bathrooms that will complement the use of the skate park. And we have been working on the design of the skate park, but now suddenly we have a context and we can put it in that context. And that is what Mike will be talking about. We don't have the final design yet. At that we have some conceptual sketches, and there are going to be public meetings to make sure that the skaters will have their say now in this final phase. But you're going to show us some images of how you think about the skate park and how you're going to integrate it. And I hope you will also talk a little bit about the concept of, if you don't build a skate park, the whole city is a skate park. I love that part of it.
Long overdue for Boston.
Yes.
And Cambridge. Sorry.
So, Michael, walk us through the site here of what we're looking at and how you're thinking of integrating that into the parklands.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to note here is you can see the overpass, the bridgeway here, and where the yellow lines are where the piers are for the overpass. The skate park limit of work is kind of located where you can see within the dash line areas here. Here you have the Charles River, and this is the footprint for the future EF Education First building. So as this park was being designed, a lot of this infrastructure, roadways, parking, pedestrian circulation did not exist with the park. This is a view looking underneath the bridge. If you look down kind of the central corridor view, this would be where the orange cones are, would be where the point of entry is proposed, or one of the points of connections for the park. This is the footprint for a previous design for the project, with a lot of the new contextual discoveries and utility lines or whatever. There's some new opportunities to expand the entry, focus on creating more of a central corridor for the design. Here you can see was the original concept that's being worked from the last community consensus meeting. So there is going to be some opportunity to expand the park. Here's the footprint for the new footprint for the new Education First building, which is critical because this is where the restrooms are going to be located for the building. So somehow we got to get the circulation from the skate park to the EF building base for restrooms, and then provide spectator viewing and seating and circulation around the park, so that spectators don't end up using and pedestrians start using the roadways, and including the duck tour kind of drop off into the waters here. So we don't want to create some congestion. So there will be a perimeter pedestrian walkway designed around the facility. This is showing the potential new footprint, as you can see from the previous red zone. That was the previous design. Now we're looking at more of a larger, expansive footprint. The red represents the availability of a central corridor, drop-off area, plaza, entry, and pedestrian circulation around the park. So that way, spectators going around the park will have lots of views and contextual views of the downtown area. One thing to show in the slides is some other cities, including in Live Oak, Texas. They more or less created a park that was also pedestrian friendly and also incorporated what was the central area for staging. It's also used for music at night. So there might be something that's of a multi-use theme, or also you can see the use of bioswales for drainage. There's a project in Cincinnati. Use of different colors, textures, more of an urban style environment through the plaza area. Denver created more of a wheel-friendly park that's even ADA accessible. So we're kind of going into the design concept with a little bit of open-minded, vision and view for how this park might be configured. This is a park that's touted on the Tony Hawk Foundation newsletter as the world's first green skate park in St. Cloud, where we designed a park with 3 central rain gardens to the park, the use of recycled granite, fly ash, different recycled base material that actually became the bioswales for the rain gardens. Here you can see the use of recycled granite for ledges, stairs, etc. So extremely highly used facility with stamp bricks, and you can see the drainage way here. So we can definitely expect to see some unique environmental approaches to the park. Faber Park, Staten Island is a new kind of wheel-friendly park where it's more integrated. And what we're really trying to do is get away from what was once more of a gray concrete shell and create something that might have more artistic elements to it and color tones, and make it more visually spectacular. This is a new Poplar Bluff skate park that opened a couple weekends ago that you can see on transworldskateboarding.com, all the videos of that grand opening. This is a park in San Diego, Carlsbad, which is on the edge of a retention basin here. This is the new Alga Norte skate park, and ironically worked on the bowls with Boston native Andy McDonald, who will be involved as part of our design team for this.
Let me just interrupt you a moment, because our viewers might need a little bit more background on some of the things, because you as a skater and a skate park designer, you know so much. So I just want to step back a little bit, and in case you just joined us, this is the Charles River Conservancy Parkland show. And if you missed the beginning, you will be able to get that on YouTube, on the Conservancy's website, thecharles.org, or the Charles River Skatepark.org. But you're talking about bowls and streetscape, and for those who are not yet familiar with those terms, the bowls really came out of the 70s when they used empty swimming pools in California. So there are these bowls that are part of the skate park, and then there are the streetscape things, which are the ledges and the stairs and the railings. So these are kind of 2 different parts, and you plan to use both of these elements in the skate park.
Right. And in spirit of the initial design and community input, we're looking at probably 60-40, 60% street, 40% flow, which would be a combination of bowls and more open organic flow elements with transitional walls for the park. And
also, I think what might be of interest is that some elements will be very, very challenging, but there will be also elements that beginners can use. So somebody once made the analogy, like on a ski slope, there are ski slopes that are marked for beginners, and then there are the double black diamonds. So there's definitely going to be some challenging elements, but it's also possible for any beginner to start there.
Right, and what you're bringing up, Renata, is very important, that people understand that this is going to be a community skate park, and also event facility. So it could be from the professional skateboard level, demonstrations, events, competitions, down to the first time skateboarder. Should be able to utilize the facility and not be intimidated.
Skateboarders, but it also will be open for inline skaters as well as for BMX bikers. And just earlier today, you made a presentation to the Department of Conservation and Recreation. They are our partner in this project, and they will be maintaining and operating that. So they obviously are very involved in the design in all aspects, because we want to make sure that this park is going to be successful once it's operational. It will be open to the public round the clock. There will be no fences, no fees to be paid to go in. So that will be a real addition to the Parklands. So I just thought I'll give a little bit of a background here for those of us who don't always know everything about skate parks. So let's go back to your images, because it shows some wonderful bowls here as well as some streetscape areas.
So this particular park in Carlsbad, California, San Diego, it has different areas where there might be more of a street infrastructure, or elements that have your banks, ledges, walls, stairs, gaps through here, and then it kind of transcends into an open flow bowl area, and then an isolated, more of a pool feature with actual stairs in there, and skimmer box, depth box, light, and other elements in real pool coping and tile for this element. So this one is a little bit more segregated with some artistic elements, with the kind of the Alamo wall that goes up through their archway for people to ride up and over. All the way down to historic renovation projects. This is a new plaza in Santa Fe, New Mexico. They'll be breaking ground shortly. And this is a new facility for City of Encinitas, California, where we work with Trans World Skateboarding, work with the Tony Hawk Foundation, and several other pro skateboarders on developing a plaza that had a theme that it wasn't really a skate park, but it was a park you could skate in. And this particular park, we couldn't even refer to this as a skate park. It was more or less just called the Gateway Plaza, but it was legal. You could legally ride in there. So, and then addressing drainage issues, work with a lot of natural biofiltration gaps for the park that were kind of hidden throughout the facility. And kind of in closing, just another snapshot, working with the A-Skate Foundation, Birmingham, Alabama, on working on a facility that they use for camps and clinics for autistic youth, which has been highly successful. Going from horseback riding to expanding the pressure release and other mechanism for autistic youth of using skateboarding. So
yeah, well, it's a wonderful range, and I think what is so amazing is that you use elements of the conceptual design that were developed here in Boston at various workshops, but now you, in a way, you update it and you integrate it into the design, and then you blend it with the surroundings, with the landscaping of EF, the new landscaping that is there at the bridge. And I will go back to the diagram that we had earlier. So if you haven't visited North Point Park, which is in East Cambridge, it's another reason to go there, not because of the skate park yet, but because of this new pedestrian bridge, which has amazing new landscape elements on the Charlestown side, and beautiful plantings. So there already has been a vocabulary set. It was designed by Carol R. Johnson Associates. They did the landscaping, and I think you might want to talk a little bit more about how you plan to use surfaces to encourage certain things and discourage certain things, and how that is also applicable in other parts of the city. And I love your story of how a well-known landscape architect came to you and asked you, how can we discourage skaters? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's not so much trying to discourage the activity of skating, but what it is the use of materials for pedestrian pathways, whether it's the use of grade differentiation for board guards, pedestrian materials of bricks, large kind of cobblestones, and other things that could be drawn and pulled across from the EF building, which has more of a Japanese garden Zen landscape to it. So along with a lot of the stonework, there's a lot of opportunities to have that come in and out of the skate park connected to. There's a lot of kind of large, granite stone that lines the Charles River that can be utilized for seat benches instead of using aluminum or off-the-shelf elements, and really try to pull materials, whether it's granite, stone, cobble, or even red brick from historical areas of Boston into the park.
Yeah. Let me also mention we are in Cambridge, and the Cambridge City Council and the city manager have been very supportive of this project, and the city of Cambridge has actually has pledged $200,000 towards that project, as has the city of Boston, and some funding has also come from the state of Massachusetts. So there are some public funding sources, but most of the funding comes from private sources. The Lynch Foundation has been absolutely instrumental. They issued a challenge grant, and a lot of individuals and a lot of other foundations then came and to match that challenge. So they have been the most generous contributors to that project. We also have the Highland Street Foundation as a major funder. We have the Herman and Frida Miller Foundation. We have the Hunt Alternative Fund, the Pierce Charitable Trust, the Boston Bruins Foundation. We have the Garthwaite Foundation and the Fireman Charitable Foundation. So these are some of the larger donors who have all given more than $50,000 in terms of foundations. And as you probably witnessed in the few meetings you've already attended, it's been a very complicated project in terms of agreements, licenses, access, ownership, and we have been extremely fortunate to have the pro bono help of the firm of Wilmer Hale, and they have been amazingly generous, and I don't think we would have gotten as far as we have without their help. So we've had a lot of help, and the Cambridge has been very supportive, and the Citizen Advisory Committee members have been helpful. And now you joined that team, and there's a whole new level of energy, and so we will get the skaters re-engaged, so that everybody feels this is really the best project, world-class skate park that we can create in Cambridge.
Agree.
So, but I interrupted you about you talking about services and the concept of it's not just an isolated park with a fence around. It becomes a park where skaters can also skate.
Right. I mean, one of the concepts or direction is to make this park as authentic as possible. Try to get away from the gray kind of floating concrete shell out there with the chain link fence, with the skate park concepts of the past. It really creates something where there's that fine line between reality and recreation. Is this, should I even be skating in this space? Especially when you start talking about some of the urban elements and environment for the street skaters. I mean, authenticity is very important, almost to the point where, being sarcastic, maybe, I'm feeling a little bit naughty, maybe I shouldn't be riding these ledges or jumping down these stairs and whatnot. So the more authentic, some of these elements and, unique features that we put in there, I think the more respect and knowledge or use the park will receive.
Well, they're actually, from the early work with skaters, we integrated well-known elements like from the Boston Medical Center that will be integrated. And I think another important part is that skaters will find great places to skate, but people will have safe places to watch. Right. Because I'm not a skater myself, my son is a skater, but it's a lot of fun to watch the skating going on. And with your designs you will be able to create spots where people can watch even if they're not skaters themselves.
Right. I mean, I'm pretty confident working with the community, with all the end users, professional skateboarders, and just general community. The actual elements within the park are going to be highly successful, whether it's how the ratios are for stairs, banks, ledges, rails for the park. That's that's almost inevitable. What's going to really make this park successful is how well it's integrated into the context of the overall site. The points of connection, where it's integrated, the sight lines, where people can spectate. We don't create a lot of confusion on the exterior side of the skate park. So if you have to use a restroom, you run across a bike path, and here comes a biker crossing across there, and everyone's kind of confused. So just the psychology of the design, the layout, the program, where people sit, where you enter the park, different grades, elevations, all those things are going to be looked at in the design as a overall contextual design. All going back a mile away from the skate park, the approach, the sight lines, where you sit, and the general circulation is really what's going to make this a highly successful skate park.
Yeah, well, I think Cambridge will be the home of a skate park that I hope we can all be very proud. And there have been many Cambridge elected officials, state representatives have been very involved. Representative Toomey, Representative Wolf, Representative Walls, Senator Petruccelli. All these people have been very involved and very helpful, and now it's going to happen on the ground. So, Mike, I want to thank you for sending me this original email saying that you're relocating to Boston from San Diego, and it's been a pleasure already working, and we will be working a lot together. And maybe you can tell the viewers of how they can find you if they want more information about action sport design, where they can find that.
Well, I think the easiest way would be to go to actionsportdesign.com. That's all singular, just actionsportdesign.com. And also you can email us, info@actionsportdesign.com would be the easiest way. But one thing I'd like to say is I'm really honored to be able to work on the project, and I look at each project uniquely, where if we don't show up to, when this park's built and we show up to the grand opening, hopefully I hear all the kids in the community saying, I designed it, that's my design, I did this because it's their park, it's not ours.
Good.
We try to not